Ash here, and I could have gone longer tonight, but I know when I get like this, when I get tired, it's like it is time to say no, because then I'm just going to have more issues with DoorDash. Plus, with my vehicle not working right, I have to be careful I'm not out too late. Plus, there's a bunch of weirdos out here, so I don't like to DoorDash too late. But I was talking to my son again, and my goodness, here we go again. He talked to dad, and dad's in his ear and manipulating his son. So instead of his dad, my husband, talking to me when he's upset, he goes around and he blabs to everybody. He blabs to Kevin Leandro. Don't even know the guy, except through this court, right? Had no idea who he was. He goes and he cries to his parents without even communicating with me. He goes and does all these things. He starts trouble in the church. He does all this stuff. There's a difference between someone who likes to have fun like I do compared to someone who starts trouble. So now my son is like all upset, and he's like, I don't want to hear from you again. And I said, you and your father are not worthy of Jesus. You're not worthy. Jesus says, he who doesn't follow me is not worthy of me. You want to go live your own worldly life? You're not worthy of Christ. I haven't heard anything back after that one. So, he likes to dish it out, but I'm like, you're going to dish it out. You're going to get it back. You don't just talk to people this way. So, no, my husband is not worthy of Jesus at all. I mean, we're all not worthy at the core, right? We're not. But when we say we're a Christian and we've been baptized, that means we're following him, right? It doesn't mean that we don't fall into sin. It doesn't mean that we don't struggle. It means we have a laser focus, tunnel vision view that we are walking toward Christ. We are repenting from known sin. We are moving forward in life, and we are following him. If someone builds a house, you don't build, right? Unless you know what it's going to cost. So when my father built a house in Pittsfield, he later decided to sell it because he said the taxes were too high. And I thought, why didn't you figure that out before? I mean, it just did not sound right, because my father is somebody who thinks a lot and thought a lot about everything and planned ahead. So that's what I was told. It didn't sound right. But scripture says, Jesus says, before a man lays a foundation, he plans ahead. He counts the cost. So, I mean, I didn't really do this when I first became a Christian. I just got saved, and I knew that he loved me, and I believed in him, and I was happy that, to have, to hear the gospel, and it fell on good ground, the seed. The Bible Jesus talks about how some seeds will fall on thorny grounds, where they last a little bit, and then they fall away with the smallest trials. They just fall away. And then there's, I can't remember this right now, but just there's this ground, right, that he talks about. Some are stony, some the birds come and take away the seed. But the one that's on good ground, the heart that's soft enough to receive his word and to be obedient and to actually be sad if you find yourself, not following Jesus, it actually bothers your conscience. Those are the ones that are on good seed. So my husband right now, he's bitter. I can hear the anger and bitterness through my son. Thank you, Ben. Thank you so much for turning your son, my son, our son, against me. So he's whining. He's like, I don't understand why you needed to ask for child support. And I said, because your dad wasn't going to pay us. And I said, are you saying that a man has a right to not pay for his son? Are you saying that a man's not a provider? When you say this, are you saying that you don't think you think your brother should be homeless because your father doesn't want to pay? And I said, not only that is it the law, but he also owes me alimony after 33 years, whether he likes it or not. And he's like, why should he have to pay you? I go, it was his fault for the divorce with the domestic abuse. Why shouldn't he not? This is the way it is, right? Why should somebody ruin my life, say they want to marry me, and then decide without even a conversation to have a divorce? And then ruin someone's life, right? Don't you think there's some kind of consequence for ruining, breaking a contract? So anyways, long story short, I said, do you seriously think your threats and rejection of me, what is this, the third time now, is really going to bother me? I said, I count it all joy to have your rejection because Christ was rejected. So I am no better than my master, right? Jesus says the teacher, the student is no better than the teacher. So in this context, Jesus is my master. He is the ultimate teacher. I am not better than him. So if he was rejected, why would I not think I'm going to be rejected? If the world hated him, I'm going to be hated. If he was mocked and persecuted, I count that as joy. I count it as joy to be in the sufferings that Christ suffered just because I'm a Christian. That's it, just because I'm a Christian. So Dad has manipulated his son. He's using him. He tried to use my two other sons and said, Kevin Leandro said, Ben wants you to tell the boys that he loves them. Like, I'm not doing that. He's trying to use me, right? For his own gain. Now he's using my son, and I said, you're not worthy. I hope he comes around. I hope he comes around. He wants to go live his own life. He said the church wasn't really welcoming today for him because he's trans. And I'm like, well, there is church discipline. There is. We don't accept everything. We do not accept, we don't accept gay marriage. We don't accept a lot of things that are wrong. And that's because Jesus doesn't, right? And it's out of love. When God says to love your neighbor as yourself, he's saying that's truth, right? When marriage is between one man and one woman, that's truth, right? And if you don't like it, it truly is your problem. So this keeps a lot of the wolves out of the church too. Like my husband, I regret marrying him. I hate to say it, but I truly do. I tried to think of the best. I was thinking the best of it, and I'm like, well, 5 sons, I don't really regret it, but now Jesus says, woe to him who makes someone who believes in him stumble. So you're better off to have a rope around your neck and a rock tied to your neck than to make a little one who believes in him fall away. So my husband has just, I think in many ways, made my son just fall away from Christ. So I'd hate to be in his shoes right now. I think he truly has made my son stumble. He did not correct him with the transgender stuff. As a Christian, my son claims to be a Christian, which unbelievers know better than this, right? So, I think, I hate to say it. I'm not even going to say what I'm thinking because it's bad, and I hate to say it, but I can say I have regretted marrying my husband at this point. When you make a child stumble like that, oh my goodness. So up until this point, I thought, there could be some kind of reconciliation, but now, no way. He's spreading his poison everywhere, and I'm too good for him. I hate to say it, but I am. I'm too good for him. And everyone used to tell me, you're too good for him, Melissa, when we were dating, when I was in hairdressing school. Should have listened, right? But I did get my sons out of this, and this is how God did use the marriage. But, wow, maybe someone wishes that he was never born, because this is pretty bad. It is just getting worse. Totally rotten, totally spoiled and rotten to the core, my husband.